The last time I saw Amara, she was holding a pink Slurpee and laughing at something on my phone. We were on Bellamy Avenue, where the sidewalks are wide, the hedges are cut daily, and the cameras watch everything except the right things. She wanted to go see the mansions. She liked the way the windows glowed at night, like promises. I told her, "Don't stare too long, we're not from here," she said. "So what? They can't own the sidewalk." I wish she hadn't said that. I wish we'd turned around. I wish I hadn't let go of her hand. My name is Keisha Ward. I was 19. Amara was 14. We lived in a 2-bedroom in South Garden Court, a zip code known more for eviction rates than Instagram posts. But we had each other, and that was enough, until it wasn't. Because the night she disappeared, everything we thought we knew about our city shattered. The report said, "No signs of foul play, minor possibly ran away." They didn't mention the footage, the one I pulled myself, from a security camera outside a luxury pet spa on Bellamy and 14th. It showed Amara walking alone, then a black SUV pulling up slowly, then her hesitating, then nothing. The video cut out, just static, just enough to erase her. I brought it to the police. The officer squinted, said, "Could be anything." I said, "She's gone." He said, "Sometimes kids leave." I said, "She didn't." He shrugged, said, "Maybe she'll come back." I said, "You gonna check the SUV plate?" He said, "Our system's down." I said, "You gonna ask the business for the raw feed?" He said, "Let us do our job." But they didn't. 3 days later, the press moved on. A missing black girl in a rich zip code wasn't worth follow-up. No vigils, no Amber Alert, just silence. So I made noise. I started online, TikTok, Threads, Reddit, told her story, posted clips, screenshots. The 10 seconds before the camera cut, asked questions, named names, people shared. Then people started talking. A girl messaged me from another state, said her cousin vanished near Bellamy Avenue 5 years ago. Another said the same, different year, same SUV. I built a map, disappearance dates, last seen points. They formed a line, a pattern, all within 5 blocks, all in or near Bellamy, and everyone uninvestigated, unconnected, erased. I brought it to a local reporter. He nodded, said, "Interesting." Then he went quiet. Story never ran, his byline disappeared for 2 weeks. So I called his burner. He picked up, whispered, "You're right, but this goes higher than you think." Then he hung up. That's when I knew this wasn't about one missing girl, this was about a city built to bury truth. And I wasn't going to stop digging. I started connecting names, not victims, not families, but officials, owners, people whose faces showed up in ribbon cuttings and real estate newsletters. First, there was the landlord who owned 3 buildings along the Bellamy disappearance path. His brother worked in the city council, his wife, director of zoning, then the real estate developer who donated $20,000 to the mayor's campaign, 3 months before she signed off on a private security contract for Bellamy. And that black SUV, registered to a shell company linked to a luxury rehab clinic, one that doesn't list its address, one that receives millions in city treatment grants. I didn't need a badge, I needed a whiteboard and internet. I confronted the police again. They said I was harassing. I said I was investigating. They said, "You're not press." I said, "Then why are you trying to shut me up?" The officer leaned in and said, "People go missing all the time, especially where you're from." I smiled and posted the recording that night. It went viral in 6 hours. That's when the threats started. DMs, calls. One message said, "You lost one sister, want to lose more?" I moved in with a friend, got a burner phone, printed everything, left copies with 5 different people. I wasn't going to disappear too. Then came the package. No return address, inside a USB encrypted, 1 file, raw surveillance footage, same pet spa as before, but this time no static. It showed the black SUV stopping, a man getting out, a badge on his belt, not police, private security, with a city contract. And inside the back seat, what looked like an unconscious girl, not Amara, but someone. I showed it to a lawyer. He looked at me and said, "If this is real, it's not just negligence, it's conspiracy." I posted screenshots, demanded answers. The mayor's office issued a statement. "The footage is doctored. We trust our institutions." But the public didn't. People started digging, found contracts, deleted records, payments. A blog unearthed records from a closed case in 2012, another missing girl. Case closed in 48 hours, no leads, same block, same SUV. Then a former city employee messaged me, said she'd talk, anonymously. "We met in a parking garage," she said. "You're right. The city's been hiding disappearances. They bury it in paperwork. Every time someone flags it, they get moved, or they quit." I asked, "Why?" She hesitated, then said, "Because someone profits when poor families disappear." The file dump hit the internet at 9 a.m. on a Monday. I published everything: emails, contracts, internal memos, the surveillance footage, the testimony from the city employee. I didn't redact names. I didn't blur faces. I didn't wait for permission. By 11 in Cork, it was trending in all 50 states. By noon, news crews surrounded City Hall. By 3 the mayor cancelled a press conference. By 5 the governor's office released a statement. "We have requested a federal investigation into allegations of municipal corruption and misconduct related to missing persons in Bellamy." I watched it all unfold from my friend's couch, laptop open, hands shaking. I didn't feel victorious. I felt scared. Because once you expose rot, it doesn't die. It moves. It adapts. It looks for silence. And I wasn't silent anymore. 2 days later, I got a call. Unlisted number. A man's voice. Calm, even. He said, "If you want to know what happened to your sister, meet me at the Bellamy garage. Midnight. Come alone." I didn't tell anyone, not because I was brave, but because I couldn't live with what if. It wasn't a trap. He was there, older, face like sandpaper, eyes hollow. He said his name was Marcus, former driver for a private security partner. He said Amara wasn't the first. She was taken because someone at City Hall needed leverage on her friend's family, a community activist who refused to sell their block. Amara was collateral. They meant to scare, not to keep. But something went wrong. He handed me a flash drive. Inside, a video. My sister, alive, crying, drugged, in a basement room. Timestamp 2 days after the disappearance. She never came home. But now I knew. Her body was found 3 counties over, buried shallow. Cause of death, overdose. Not street drugs. Tranquilizer used by private detainee contractors. The city tried to spin, said it was tragic, said it was unforeseen. But the people didn't buy it. They marched, they screamed, they demanded heads. And 1 week later, the mayor resigned. 3 arrests followed. 6 more investigations opened. I gave the eulogy, told them Amara wanted to be a lawyer, told them she liked peach Slurpees and hated math, told them she should have lived. Then I looked at the crowd and said, "Don't say justice was served, say truth was forced to show up." Now I run a foundation in her name. We investigate forgotten cases. We fight like she never got the chance to. And every time I speak to a room full of kids who still believe the world can be fair, I tell them, they told me to move on. Instead, I burned the silence to the ground. Thank you for watching. If you want to get more that kind of stories, press like and check out our channel.